Hey everyone, Tony D and Little Joan here with a hot take, and we're talking about Stephen Colbert. I was a big fan of Stephen Colbert. I thought and still think he's a very talented man with many skills in the comedy field. I thought the Colbert Report was one of the best shows on Comedy Central ever. I thought his White House Press Club dinner monologue to President Bush was hands down one of the bravest, cutting edge pieces of comedy I'd seen at that time. But now something has happened to poor Stephen Colbert. Here is an article from Deadline, archived in Archive Today, link in the description. And he's interviewing Nancy Pelosi. And look at the headline. Stephen Colbert and Nancy Pelosi talk Truman, accountability, and the here and now. What has happened to the comedy? Where is the comedy in this? What kind of late night talk show does this? When people need to be entertained and uplifted, why has he had such a Trump derangement syndrome case here? Look at this close. I can't zoom in. I'm technically illiterate, but I took the picture, and as you can see, I put it in my GIMP. But you can see how sad Stephen looks. Now he's broadcasting from home, and he's wearing a black tie and a black suit like he's at a funeral. Is it a funeral for comedy? Because I can't imagine this interview is funny in any way. Listen to this article. This is from, again, Deadline. Eric Peterson is the writer. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is Steve Colbert's virtual guest on his home edition of The Late Show, but the first clip from their discussion is anything but lighthearted. Have a look below. Yeah, I guess so. Looks like a funeral. The clip focuses on Pelosi's new bipartisan committee in the House of Representatives that will oversee the White House's response to the virus, and how the administration handles the $2 trillion relief package that Congress passed last week. We're still in this, okay? We're still in this. And this is a woman who wanted more money. This is a woman who wanted money for the Kennedy Center in the midst of this crisis. This is not a person to talk to. This is clear partisanship by a comedian, a former comedian, I guess. This is the same guy who had his very severe case of TDS goes all the way back to 2015, where in the WikiLeaks emails, and you could read this, his producer contacted Hillary Clinton's campaign to let them know they would do anything in their power to help the campaign along. And it's just so partisan. It's so partisan. Look, I get it. You don't like Trump. I get it. But you have lost all perspective here. Nancy Pelosi's district that she represents, allegedly, is covered in feces. The response from San Francisco was to create a poop patrol. Okay? It's homeless people everywhere. And yet, you act like we're living under a dictator. Half the country elected Trump, Stephen. That was partially your fan base. Until you got so political and so partisan, I couldn't watch it anymore, and I didn't vote for Trump. I'm a libertarian. I voted for Gary Johnson. I didn't vote for Trump, and I can't stomach a single minute of your show anymore. It's not fun. It's not funny. The Late Show was a fun, funny show with David Letterman, and you've turned it into your soapbox. And you're not even an expert. You're not an academic who came out of with a history PhD. Not that you would be even less partisan if you were, but at least you would have that academic background. You're a guy who was in, you're not a dumb guy. Look, you certainly are entitled to your opinion, but my God, what are you doing to the show? Colbert cites World War II-era Truman Committee, which held corporate leaders to account to thwart profiteering, and is cited in the U.S. Senate's homepage as one of the most productive investigative committees in the Senate in the entire history. Yeah, that's on the homepage of the Senate. Okay? That is the very people. That's like asking the cops who judged other cops in a shootout where things went wrong. Did the cops do anything wrong? No, the cops did everything by the book. And it's literally the fox guarding the hen house. Oh, right. But some of them might have been Republicans, so. And Truman, the only guy to ever use a nuclear weapon in the history of the world, who nuked not one, but 2 Japanese cities, that's the guy you're touting here. That's the guy. It was formed by then Senator Harry Truman 9 months before the attack on Pearl Harbor. Can we do something like that? The host asked with an atypically serious face. Can we? Stephen, just run for office. If you feel this strongly, you have millions of dollars. You have a nice look. You have television presence. Run for office. Run for office if you feel that strongly. You should. See if anybody will vote for you. Go back to South Carolina and run for office. Oust Lindsey Graham. Become the senator from South Carolina. Isn't it South Carolina? Yeah. I think that's where you're from. Maybe it's North Carolina. Just go back and run. Run for office. If you're that high and mighty, that you know so much. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous how you side with people. The clip focuses on new bipartisan committee in the House of Representatives that will oversee the White House's response to the beer virus and how the administration handles it. Oh, I already read that. I'm sorry. I'm very upset. Pelosi proceeded to give a little history lesson. Oh, great. Great. How about the history of her poop-filled streets? How about that history lesson? Oh, no. That won't be her fault. Poop-filled streets won't be her fault. Oh, but this, she has to stand up to Trump. And she's been doing such a bang-up job of it, hasn't she? They're criticizing Trump for his lack of response during the beer virus, when during that time, what were the Democrats doing? Were they touting, my God, you have to get ready for this pandemic? No. Nancy Pelosi was going to Chinatown in her own district to virtue signal to everybody, look, we don't have to be afraid, everyone. Donald Trump's making a big deal. That was a political gamble she made and lost. And she probably cost human lives by doing so. Because there are plenty of people in her district who, just like you, are big anti-Trumpers, said, well, I'm certainly going to believe Nancy Pelosi because I don't want to believe that Donald Trump could be right about anything. Well, you have to admit he was right to close down the flights to China. I'm sure you were busy making jokes about how racist he was, but maybe if you could just take the partisan blinders off for 10 minutes and entertain us again, you could see something clearly. Oh, but no, I'm sure all your viewers want to see you interview this person who decided to ignore the warnings. Blatantly ignore them. No, but she's the one who should oversee the beer virus committee because she knew better. She knew so much to give millions of dollars to the Kennedy Center in this package. That's important. Oh, that's important. Why people don't have jobs, why millions of people are out of work, we got to make sure the Kennedy Center stays afloat. They're millionaires like yourself who can keep the Kennedy Center afloat. If it's important to you, Stephen. God, it's just, I can't read any more of this. It's just sad. Sad to me that people got to get so partisan about this. I'm not going to play the clip. No. You know what? Do what you want. I'm not going to watch your show anymore. I don't know who watches The Late Show anymore. Who can laugh at a guy that partisan when things are so bad, that gloomy? And that's the other thing, too. You know, since when has comedy been about doom and gloom and resistance? The only way you can maintain this utter charade that Trump is a dictator is to be doom and gloom guy. So go ahead. See how that works out for you. I'm done.